You're told that there's limits on how much you can give to a campaign. $3,300, that's the limit for this primary to a presidential election. And you can also give $3,300 in the general election. That's a total of $6,600. That's a lot of money to most people in this country. But it's not enough to buy off a politician. And in fact, that's why the limit is set around exactly where it is. The whole purpose was to borrow the legal verbiage on this. It prevents a corrupting influence. That makes sense. Here's the part that doesn't make sense. Those rules actually aren't followed at all in practice, in substance, because this primary is being run by super PACs. What are super PACs? They're these independent entities, not the campaign, but independent entities where people can donate unlimited amounts of money, not just $3,300, but $33 million, $100 million. It doesn't matter. How does that work? Well, they say it's technically not part of the campaign. It's an independent entity. Okay, and that independent entity has a free speech right, a First Amendment right, they say. And you think a campaign has a First Amendment right too, but there's limits because they say there's a government interest, I believe there is, in making sure there's no corruption. But the independent entity has a right to speak, even that means supporting a candidate. That was the logic from 13 years ago. Well, the problem is that system has now been abused. Here's how things are working in this race. Those super PACs, for Ron DeSantis or Nikki Haley or otherwise, that's where the lion's share of the campaign's functional money is being spent. The amount of money spent on propping up the candidate. And guess what? The super PAC donors that are donating to that, they're not anonymous. You know who they are. And the candidates know who they are. The candidates know who they are because they show up at fundraisers hosted by the super PAC. Those super PAC donors are also convening donor summits where they invite, sometimes in their words, summon certain candidates. So the candidates are absolutely subject to the corrupting influence of those entities. The Ron DeSantis campaign, this isn't his fault, it's just a fact, is being run most of the employees, the super PAC employees, really just functionally the campaign employees. The campaign is being run by the super PAC. Nikki Haley, most of that money being spent by the super PAC. Turns the politicians into circus monkeys. The super PAC donors will say, jump. The candidate will ask, how high? That's the way the game is played. But the worst part about it is we adopt this farce for everybody else, saying, no, it's $3,300 on maximum. But actually, for giving to the super PACs, you're really the one that the candidate is paying true attention to. As the sun rises in the east and sets in the west, it's just a fact. Every politician dances to the tune of their biggest donor. And yes, that includes donors to their super PACs. Just turns out, in my case, that biggest donor, if I put it into the campaign, is me. The exception for being able to give an unlimited amount to your own campaign comes from if you're the candidate yourself. And you know what? Is that a perfect system? No, it's not. But it's better than being somebody else's circus monkey. So yes, I'd rather be my biggest donor and declare independence from that. Whether that's the winning strategy or not, that belongs to the people of this country. But I believe we need to finally end the super PACs. This is a unifying idea. This used to be a left-wing idea. The reluctance to it comes from the Republican Party, but specifically the donors, the special interests in the Republican Party that want to make sure that voters aren't really the ones who get the final say. They want to have the final say in what these politicians do. Reform that system. End the super PACs. It's a winning issue for the integrity of the Republican Party. It's also a winning election issue to show that we're a party based on principle, not a party that the other side has long accused us of being, a party that just props up puppets who are controlled by donor puppet masters. That's going to end on my watch, but it's going to take courage to do it.